Welcome to Just Be, the mystical and magical journey into motherhood. This is a place for real conversations. We talk about the things that aren't said out loud enough, the things we may not be prepared for, and all the ways we can feel more connected through it all. It's an invitation to dive into the beauty, the challenges, the intimacy, and the transformation that comes with it. From the practical to the energetic, the messy to the sacred, the human to the mystical, this podcast is a small portal for you to slow down, tune in, and just be.
All right. I am excited to be back today to chat about another inspired topic that came up for me and something I see and work with all kinds of mamas, no matter first child, second child, where they're at in the journey, pre-birth, post-birth. I am all bundled up. If you're watching the video of this, it is raining really hard today. Maybe you can hear the rain. It is so loud. And I've got my little beanie on and a sweater. And I'm feeling pretty bundled up today. I wanted to chat about comparison because without getting too deep into the story, I had a recent experience with a friend. I was gathered with a lot of friends, and one of my friends, I think she'd be totally fine with me saying this, lost her little brother a few months ago. And we were in a situation where she's still going through lots of waves of grief, waves of sadness, waves of pain, and being with that pain. We were someplace and she wanted to, there was a bunch of us, and she kind of shared, like, I'm going to go up into this space and I'm going to grief dance for an hour to a playlist, a specific playlist she has. And it's kind of like grief dance is like ecstatic dance, but really moving the grief through your body. She was in it and she wanted to move it through her body. And she invited us all, and I decided I was going to go up and dance with her. I was about 10 minutes probably behind her starting. And I walked in and she was rolling all over the floor, beautifully just howling in her cries, rolling around on the floor crying, and then moving that beautifully into movement and dance and however her body wanted to move and express. There was so much space, and I was able to just slide right in and just start dancing alongside her. We were in our own worlds, but also collided really beautifully. And I couldn't help but start crying and feeling and moving and doing all my own same shaking and rolling and dancing in ways that my body wanted to move for almost an hour through some really amazing songs. It was a really great playlist. I will get her permission, but I'm sure she would be fine with me sharing this playlist in the show notes if you want to grief dance. And I will share her information if she is okay with that too, because she is a really wonderful person if you're dealing with grief or loss to tap into as far as her guidance and healing abilities. But on that note, at the end of this, she sat down and she wanted to know what came up for you through that. The first thing that came to mind was how I feel or have felt like I had been grieving. And I told her comparison. I felt this huge grief comparison of who am I to say I have grief right now when this person has lost a brother that they were very, very close to. It was really interesting because she reflected back to me. I feel that too. I have comparison. I often feel like my grief isn't as deep as my parents' grief or other things along this line, which was interesting and shocking. I'm like, what do you mean? Like it's equal, your parents. Just this like realization. And I sat with this for a couple of weeks and just this like, eye-opening realization of how beautiful it is to be in our grief. I think there's a lot of grief that is attached to our journey and to becoming a parent, a mother, however that may look, our fertility journey, our pregnancy journey, our postpartum journey. That can look different every single birth or child or pregnancy or attempted pregnancy that we have. I just think it's inescapable to go through this and not have some kind of grief, right? And also the comparison of this, right? I think there is a really big percentage of people out there that almost judge themselves for having this or feel like it is not justified. and or look at other people and say, well, they had to experience this, so who am I to experience what I'm going through, or it's not as bad. And all the thoughts are welcome, all the parts are welcome, and it's not a competition of whose grief is worse, right? Oftentimes those people that we're comparing ourselves to may be comparing themselves to you or to someone else. I think it's important just to remember we're all on our own journey. It's so easy in parenthood, parenting, becoming a parent, to bring, like, grief or no grief, to bring comparison into the picture. I just want this to be a reminder of your journey is unique. Your journey is unique. Your experience is unique. It's not a competition. And really, we're all in this together. Oftentimes, the people we're comparing ourselves to are just comparing themselves to somebody else. It's this weird cyclical chain. So there's two things, just keeping this one short and sweet. Two main points I wanted to bring out of this is, how are you comparing yourself to others? And really maybe just take note of that for a day, a week, just literally like a notes app on your phone. Anytime you find yourself comparing yourself to someone else in any way, that can be direct comparison, social media. Please stay off social media if you're in the early days of parenting. Such a comparison game on there that I just do not buy into. Social media comparison is, hopefully we've all realized, we are living in this world of AI illusions and algorithms. Be raw, be real. If you are comparing yourself to somebody, I challenge you to bring that to the person, right? Say to them, hey, this is really hard for me. I feel like in this comparison mode to how well your postpartum's going, and I feel like mine is such a struggle. Because bringing that to the table and being raw and real about that can really open up some beautiful conversations and realizations, and just really allow yourself to be seen and allow that other person to see a side that maybe you might not see with that other person. So that's a little bit on the comparison piece. And then the grief part. Grief is such a beautiful teacher. All the parts are welcome in our journey, right? So if you are grieving, or you have grief that hasn't been tended to, I challenge you to bring that to the table too, or at least notice it. Where am I feeling grief that maybe I'm not allowing myself to feel? What grief hasn't been tended to? Where can I allow this part of me to be seen and, have a place, right? Have a place just as much as the part that maybe wants to be strong and wants to have it all together, or does have it all together. Being with the grief is a very beautiful process. If you can share that with somebody, it's beautiful. But if nothing else, how can you move with that grief? Be with that grief and move with it, because that is such a powerful thing. We can move through our grief through physically moving our bodies. We can move through our grief through touching ourselves, like squeezes or, soft touch, stroking our arms, or whatever it is, like holding our hands on our belly and our heart. And crying is another beautiful way to be with your grief and allow it to move through. Just allowing the cries and the screams, if we need to, scream into a pillow, allowing it to move through our body. So grief and comparison, man, that's what I got for you today. And I'd love to hear how these topics are resonating with you. Share a story with me. I have a voicemail. It's very easy to leave a nice little voice note for us if you would like. For me, you can go ahead and just find that link in the show notes, www.speakpipe.com/postpartum love, all one word. Or you can always reach out to me directly, amanda@postpartum.love. So it's not postpartumlove.com. It's amanda@postpartum.love. And share with me your thoughts. I really love hearing from people, and I do respond to every single person that reaches out via email or voice note. And I will see you in a future episode.
You made it to the end. Thank you for tuning into this episode. I hope it resonated with you in some small way. You can find more links to any of the mentioned resources, as well as some other offerings and fun goodies that I have in the show notes. And if you want to support or share your love for the podcast, you know what to do. Share an episode with someone you know, subscribe, leave a review, or just reach out and say hello. I truly do love connecting with everyone that listens to the podcast. You can find the email and voicemail links for that in the show notes as well. I'll be back with another episode soon, but until next time, just remember, you don't have to have it all figured out. You're allowed to just be.